This week, our book is Parenting with an Accent, How Immigrants Honor Their Heritage, Navigate Setbacks, and Chart New Paths for Their Children by Masha Rumer. And here's going to be a shocker for you. This week, instead of you asking me questions because of the topic, I'm going to be asking you questions.
My name is Alina Adams. I was born in Odessa, USSR. I wrote 2 books set in the Soviet Union. My daughter was born in America. I'm going to tell her about the Soviet experience through books.
Yippee!
Are you ready?
So ready.
Are you excited?
Yes.
Okay, so your first question is, what's it like to be parented by someone with an accent, even though I technically don't have one, but I could have one if I wanted to?
I think I like being more than one, thing, you know? I like being a hodgepodge of stories.
Much. The word you're looking for is much. Okay, so here's the question. When you were little, I mean, all little kids pretty much think that the way things are in their house is the way everybody is. What are some of the things you found out that the way we do things at our house is not the way normal people do it?
Okay, well, there's the obvious ones, not taking their shoes off when they go into the house. That was shocking at a play date. Not eating everything that was given on the plate and then getting another option. I was like they didn't want cauliflower and their parents just gave them something else, and I was like.
So let's talk about the language piece. When you were little, I would speak to you in Russian sometimes. Okay, so here's the thing. This is going to be my confession now. Everybody says that if you want to raise your kids to be bilingual, you have to do it in one of several ways. Either only speak to them in the second language and have them speak English outside or whatever the dominant language is, or have one parent speak one language and have one parent speak another language. I even met one family where they only spoke their language inside the house but spoke the outside language outside the house. There's a whole family. But here is my problem. So your dad, your father, doesn't speak Russian. And I know you're supposed to do it where I only speak Russian to you, because the minute you figure out that I also speak English, you'll obviously switch over to English. But it just seems so rude to be speaking Russian in front of her dad, my husband, who you really don't like how I have to clarify, but people don't know. I'm explaining this, but for the people out there. So it just seems so rude to be speaking Russian in front of him. It seemed deliberately exclusive, so I didn't do that. So I would speak Russian to you when we were alone. But I wouldn't speak Russian to you when we were together as a family. And so when you were little, what did you think this weird thing I was doing was?
I thought you were just trying to sound like Masha. I didn't really associate it with I thought it was a TV language, you know?
Or only spoken by little girls and bears. So you didn't really learn Russian beyond some phrases. But now that you're 16 years old, I see it on your Duolingo app, and you actually are learning Russian. So why?
36-day streak on Duolingo, first of all. Why? I would say it's embarrassing, but I think it's you want to know, the language that your family speaks. If your parents speak a different language and you don't, that's kind of awkward, you know? I feel like you're losing a whole chunk of who you are. And if I ever have kids and they don't speak Russian, and then that's embarrassing for me. If my kids don't speak Russian.
For me. No, but the question is, you weren't really into it when you were younger. You just kind of put up with it. Because when you're younger kids, you kind of pull up with anything. Eat this, wear this, go there. And now that you're actually old enough, more or less, to make your own decisions, you've consciously decided to study Russian. So I'm just curious what the thought process was.
I also switched schools to a place where no one really spoke Russian, or it wasn't there wasn't a what I am was not really in the school a lot, so I kind of was more interested in, because it was no longer forced down my throat, you know?
Yeah, well, that's what I was asking, because the fact is, one of the things that comes up a lot in Parenting with an Accent is how do you motivate your kids to want to learn the other language? Because there's really no reason for it. I mean, TV is in English, school is in English, the world is in English, TikTok is in English. Oh, do they have other languages on TikTok? Yeah. But it's, I like to learn things. That's why we do these videos, so I get my kid to talk to me. But my question is, what motivated you? Because that's one of the major topics here, is how do you get your kids to want to learn language?
Well, so my older brother started learning Russian and being able to say things to you that I can only kind of understand. And I was like, that's not fair. I want to be able to talk about people too.
behind their backs. Well,
No, to their face.
okay. Both. So now here, let me add this. You are a rhythmic gymnast.
Mm-hmm.
You've been a rhythmic gymnast since you were eight years
Almost
old.
on my 10th year. No, I think 7.
7. And a lot of the coaches do speak Russian. So how does it come in handy? Because this is part of the motivational thing. Did you ever find that it comes in handy to speak Russian?
I love being able to understand Russian at gymnastics competitions because they'll be saying things and they'll be like, she doesn't know what I'm talking about. And I'll be like, I do know what you're talking about.
If you actually were going to tell kids who have parents who speak Russian or any other language really, why they should learn that language, let's have this. 3 reasons for why you, and by you I mean the youth, why youth should learn their language. What's called, again, she calls it a heritage language in parenting with an accent, the language that your parents speak. What would you give 3 reasons for young people to actually learn that language?
So I'm speaking to my generation?
Yes, speaking
Okay.
to the youth. Listen, youth. Listen up, youth.
Number 1, to not be like other girls. Like, to be able to speak a different language, to be able to sit in class and have one of your friends also speak a language and you're sitting there and you're all talking, right? Or like when teacher tells you like to go work in groups and you don't want to talk about what the teacher's saying, but if you do it in English, they'll know. If you do it in a different language, they won't know. To just say you can. Like, to be like, oh yeah, I don't speak just one language, you know? And the 3rd reason, so your parents can't say you don't understand your native language. You know, they can be like,
I'm better than you.
yeah,